Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and I'm coming back to a game I previewed, but now the final game is delivered. This is Encounters Shattered Wastes, and I'm going to do a playthrough of the Journey mode, something that was added after I did my coverage of the game. And disclaimer that I got a review copy of this one. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our podcast for reviews and design discussions, or come and say hi and join the conversation on our Discord. So if you didn't see my previous coverage of Encounters Shattered Wastes, the core gameplay has not changed. You'll have from 2 to 4 heroes, and you're moving them around within these 10 little areas that correspond to rows with enemy cards building up. And you fight against one of 8 unique bosses that also have a wounded side that changes their abilities and what they do. And you're using actions and engaging in dice-based combat to attack the cards of the enemy. You're suffering more or less threat from those cards, and at the end of the round, cards are flipped over and resolved, causing damage to your characters. You can also be hit by the unique rage cards of each boss. And winning a battle against a given boss is all about the stamina, fatigue, and wound piles. As the boss plays, they'll be putting out more and more cards from their stamina pile, and as you hurt those cards, they'll go to the fatigue pile. And once there are no cards in the stamina pile, the boss will be staggered, very Dark Souls of the game to call it that, and then any damage you do will go to the wounded pile, which means it won't be in the stamina fatigue circulation. At the end of the turn where they're staggered, they'll come back to their ready mode, and they'll get all their cards back to stamina. And once they have no cards in their stamina and fatigue and they get wounded, they'll flip to their wounded side, and then you have to get rid of every single card. You have to wound everything, and they heal fully when they go to their wounded side to actually defeat the boss. Meanwhile, each of your characters, I'm playing with the Siren and the Slayer, they have their own special stats and abilities. They also have a shattered side where they've kind of given into the corruption of the land you're entering in the story. That gives them other abilities, but is kind of a ticking clock. And they get abilities from this giant deck of different types. You get to choose exactly what you want in the Journey mode, or I just use the pre-cons that they suggested. But in the regular combat mode, you draw a certain number, and then you get to pick among them. And you have hit points, you don't want to get down to 0, or you could be defeated. Magic points that'll be used to fire off your ability cards. And finally, your threat will build up as you attack the enemy, and it'll make it harder for you to hit and also affect other things. Now, I had mentioned I'm doing the Journey mode, which is different than the regular combat mode I originally covered. And this is an ongoing campaign in the game where you kind of fight through the bosses one after another. And this is basically a survival mode because you bring whichever heroes you want. I'm playing a 2-hero game, but I could play 3 or 4. And they're going to keep whatever their stats are at the end of the battle, although they will have the chance to recover and get some stuff back. So if, like, my Slayer gets a ton of hit points loss, or if the Siren has to shatter, she's going to stay that way, or he's going to stay that way. And so I'll be swapping people in, like, oh man, my Slayer's too hurt. Let's bring the Monk this time. And you're trying to sort of like keep your roster alive. And then also probably the coolest thing in the Journey mode is that you have cards, items you can unlock from each of the bosses that'll let you level up and gain even cooler new abilities. So it adds a lot of fun stuff, and they do have a bit of narrative to go with each boss, so let's jump in from the beginning. It is widely known that any intrepid traveler who should dare venture into the Shattered Wastes shall inevitably be confronted with a monstrous being wrought of metal known as the Guardian. Yet what remains shrouded in mystery is the origin of this fearsome entity. In the days before the Sundering of Magic, when legendary heroes roamed the land, the Guardian was among their ranks. His noble duty to safeguard the innocent and vulnerable had become so deeply ingrained within him that even as he was the first of these champions to succumb to the insidious corruption of the wastes, a fragment of his valiant spirit persisted. Thus, he remained steadfast in his vigil to ward off any who would venture into this cursed realm, whether it be to save them from a cruel fate or to shield his dark master from their intrusion. This none can say. So a few things about Journey mode and changes if you've seen somebody fight this boss before. In the final release of the game, again, they didn't have this when I played it. They've actually balanced and changed a lot of things in really cool ways. You have these location cards that you can add to any boss to kind of change up how they play and make them more difficult, but in the Journey mode, they suggest one. So we have the Fractured Badlands. You'll see that in play in a second. And additionally, each of the bosses has a hard and a shattered difficulty modifier that'll give you better bonuses for the campaign if you can face off against them. This first boss is pretty dang easy, even with the location. So I'm playing against the hard mode, which is going to have him have more cards in his stamina pile to start out, so it'll take a little bit longer to defeat him. And my reward is that all characters in my roster get to heal fully afterwards. So usually I'd have to worry about like health being gone, but not so much here. So that really means that if possible, with the 2 characters characters I'm using. Where are they? Oh, here they are, the Slayer and the Siren. If possible, I want to not have them shatter and turn to their corrupted sides, because as long as they have only lost hit points, they'll fully recover that, and they'll be in a pretty good way. All right, so let's get two things. I'll walk through stuff a little bit in detail with the first round and then go a little faster after that. So the first step of each round is the refresh phase. The boss is laying out these strength cards. They have physical ones that are brown, and there's one, magic ones that are bluish. And at the beginning of each fight, you have one of each physical one out, but their actual deck will be composed of this number of physical and magical ones multiplied by the number of heroes. But because I'm playing on harder difficulty, I have 3 and 3 instead of 1 and 1, so there are 6 total magic and 6 physical cards in here. At the start of the refresh phase, if heroes are in an area, which is what the roads are called, with nothing, then you take a card from stamina and put it in there. That's not the case in the first round. And then each hero has to roll a number of dice equal to the refresh value of the boss. In the Guardian's case, on his unwounded side, his healthy side, it's 1. And that's going to correspond to the 1 through 5 values of the areas here. If you roll a 6, you'll see that it's got a little symbol there. That means you don't place any enemy card. But here, let's roll for the Slayer. We got a 1. So we take the top card of stamina and lay it there. And they're staggered, so you can always add up the total of the threat value at the location. Here it's 3 plus 1, 4. That matters for some things. Then the Siren rolls a 3. That's a pretty hefty place there with a 5 and a 1. And that's it for the refresh phase. We just put out more cards from stamina. Remember, once the stamina deck empties, we'll be able to actually start wounding the guy because he'll be staggered. Next, we go to the action phase, and in whatever order we want, the Slayer and the Siren are going to take 2 actions. But first, the location, the Fractured Badlands that's making this boss harder, comes into play. It says at the start of the action phase, each heroic and reclaimed character, that's what these symbols mean. Heroic is how you start. Shattered is kind of like your dark side, and then reclaimed is if you come back from the dark side. Gains 1 threat to a maximum of 11, and then they have some stuff that happens to shattered characters. You don't have to worry about that. So Siren and Slayer each gain 1 threat. So now we go to the actions. We can pick the Slayer or the Siren first, and they can do 2 actions. So move lets you move up to 3 spaces, and you can go back front or back line. You can go to different areas, and you can go through other characters, but you can't end your move there. You can do a basic attack, and that's kind of the most important thing in the game, so we'll get to that and the details of that in a second. You can do a recover action where you roll a die and then either regain magic points, the blue, decrease threat, the green, or you can get rid of these negative condition cards, these status effects that can build up for monsters. You can use one of your abilities, paying the indicated magic point cost. If it's active, it uses up one of the actions. Reactions don't cost an action, but they happen at specific times. It can only be used once per player activation. And then free, like this inspiring verse, as you can imagine, are free. And then finally, if you're really in a bad way or you've run out of health before you die, you can shatter to flip to your kind of dark side, and you get to refill a lot of stuff, and your skills change out. A lot of things happen. All right, so for now, let's start with the Slayer, and let's talk about his abilities. We'll go and flip that to show he's activating. So he starts with 9 hit points and 7 magic points. He rolls a single die in combat. They usually do on their non-shattered side. Each time he attacks, he does 2 damage, which basically is going to remove 2 of those strength cards in his area. So he can be better if he gets to an area with a bunch of strength cards. His crit value is a 6. That means if he rolls a 6 on his die, it's a critical hit, which is great. It wounds the cards immediately instead of just sending them to fatigue, so it kind of accelerates how you quickly defeat the boss. And also, as we see in a second, attacking will usually increase your threat value, make it harder for you to hit again. So a crit does not add to your threat value. You kind of get a free attack. Then he's got the ability Reclaimed Blade. When he deals damage while performing a basic attack, he can spend 1 magic point for each threat he gained, and then he places the top cards from stamina to fatigue for each magic point spent in this way. So he can kind of get the boss to break more quickly than normal. And these values down here are just when you're playing a one-off game, not journey mode, where you get to draw that many cards from each deck and then decide which ones you're keeping. We don't have to worry about that. His abilities, and again, these are the ones that were suggested as kind of pre-cons for these characters. Tactical Instincts costs 0, but it does cost an action. He can move 1 space, and then an adjacent character, that means either behind him or, orthogonally adjacent to him, may perform a move action, and then he can, there's like a little recycle symbol here. And in a normal game, that means this card would go to the bottom of the matching deck and you would get a new ability from the top. But in the journey mode, you can either do that, still get a new ability, but then this ability is eliminated from the game, basically, like it can never come back and your decks are getting smaller. Or you can just flip it face down and then it'll come back like in the next time you fight a boss. So it's sort of like a one-time use per scenario. His flash beam costs a ton of magic, 6 out of his 7, but he rolls 2 dice to attack instead of 1, and if his roll is below a 7, so slightly less than a 50% chance, it's automatically a crit, which is pretty cool. Then finally, Smiting Impale is 3 magic, also a 2 dice attack. And this says if the enemy is staggered, that means, again, they have nothing in their stamina pile, and this attack hits. And hitting, by the way, means with whatever dice you roll, 1 or 2, you exceed your stamina value. So right now, if the Slayer did an attack, he would hit on a 2 through 6 with his 1 die, but would miss on a 1. If the attack hits before damage is dealt, he reduces his threat to 0, and then he deals 2 additional damage. So for him, that's 4. That's a lot. All right, so what do I want him to do? The Siren has a lot of abilities that boost somebody in the same area as her. So a part of me wants to move down here and then attack there. But here's the big thing. At the end of the round in the defend phase, worse things happen if characters are in an area that is empty of cards, because that's when the boss's unique rage cards come in. And they affect everybody in a given area, whereas if these basic strength cards are left, a physical strength card is just going to hit the person in the front, and a magical strength card is just going to hit the person in the back, so it's kind of not nearly as bad. Which makes me think maybe he whacks a thing in front of him and then moves in front of the Siren, because as you'll see in a second, she has the ability to attack in adjacent areas and not attack her own, so then he can tank whatever this is going to hit for. So let's try that. So he'll do his first action attacking here. And remember, a 1 is going to miss because of his threat value. A 6 would be a crit. We really would love to see that. Or just a 3, which is nothing. So first, he does his attack value, which is 2. So if there were 2 cards here, we'd defeat both of them. And he gains threat equal to the total of the cards he defeated. And this goes to the fatigue pile, so just 1. If the guy was staggered, if there was nothing in his stamina pile, it would go to the wound pile and get him closer to being defeated. So he went to 2 threat, and then I'm going to use Reclaimed Blade. So he gained threat. He can spend 1 magic point for each threat he gained, 1 in this case. And that takes that many cards, 1 from the top of the stamina pile, moves him straight to fatigue. So he's just accelerating again how quickly this guy will be staggered and vulnerable. Okay, and then again for his second action, he'll move here and be in front of the Siren. And speaking of the Siren, let's look at her abilities. So she has 6 hit points, but 11 magic. 1 attack, crits on a 3, but only does 1 damage with each attack, so only kills 1 card. A lower crit is generally preferable because, remember, rolling higher is going to exceed your threat anyway, so you're hitting on higher rolls and missing with lower rolls. And her ability is Black Powder Ballad. When you attack, you may target an adjacent area. If you do, you may gain magic points equal to the lowest die value rolled, or another character in your area may gain 2 magic points. So I'm about to be able to give the Slayer back his magic points just by shooting people nearby. And yeah, with that being the case, I think she might shoot twice. Here first, because you always target the topmost card. She'll only take 1 threat for that, and then here for the second attack. It's first attack. She wants to not roll a 1. A 3 would be a crit. Dang it, that would have been... They traded crits. He rolled a 3, she rolled a 6. So that's going to defeat the first one, which gives her 1 threat. She's at 2. And because she targeted an adjacent area, she could either gain magic points equal to the lowest die value roll, which would have been 6. That's freaking crazy. Or she can give somebody in her area up to 2 magic points, so he'll go back to his max of 7. Oh, sorry, I didn't talk about her abilities. Inspiring Verse is a free one. An adjacent character gains magic points equal to your current magic points, and then your magic points goes down to 0, although as you see, she can get it back very quickly. And then you may flip this or replace this. You don't have to. Strategic Mastery, when a character in your area rolls dice on an attack, if one of the dice rolled is equal to your crit value, their attack is a crit. So it is not going to help her in her own attacks at all, but if the Slayer attacks and rolls a 3 or a 6, he has twice the chance to crit, although it would cost her 3. And again, reactions can only be used once per player activation. So even if the Slayer rolled 3s in 2 successive attacks, he would not be able to use that twice. And then Healing Zephyr is 4. You choose the front line or the back line. Roll 1 die, and all characters in that line gain that much hit points, and then this has to be flipped or replaced. But pretty dang good, because hit point healing effects are very rare. Although, yeah, I gotta say, I'm not loving the pre-selected skills that they had in the pre-cons. I would rather her have a consistent, really powerful spell that you could spend a ton of magic points on. I'd rather her have the Flash Beam and him have the healing one, for example. In fact, you know what? Boop! Why not? Technically, I was allowed to build the build of my characters however the heck I wanted, so why not do that? And yeah, for a second attack, let's go ahead and use that Flash Beam. So we're going to spend 6 magic points. And this says when she attacks, she can target an adjacent area, not a basic attack, so she could do it with Flash Beam. And she's going to gain magic points equal to the lowest die value rolled. So if she rolls really high, she might just get all her magic back. And if she rolls really low, it'll be a crit, so it's a win-win. And yeah, she's now targeting this one with 3 threat. So she's rolling 2 dice. So a 3 would be a crit. Anything under a 7 would be a crit. A 2, a Snake Eyes would be a miss. That seems unlikely. Oh, that's great. So that is a critical hit because of the Flash Beam's ability. Now, her ability means she only gains magic points equal to the lowest die value, 2. So she lost 4 magic points in the wash. But yeah, this is a much better ability for her than the Slayer. Get out of here, precons. Now, a critical hit, just to make how it works really clear, you do not gain the threat, so she doesn't get 3 threat here, which is beautiful. She doesn't have to recover to make her attacks more accurate. And the card goes straight to wounds, which is where we want it to be, because remember, we need to empty out the fatigue and the stamina and then hit the guy to actually get him to go to his damage side. Okay, now we go to the defend phase. We're going to go area by area, 1 through 5. First, in each area, we check what the total threat value is. 3 plus 1 is 4, and the Guardian has this value 9 here. That's the enemy's area limit. If the total of the cards is greater than that, so like here, if it was a 10, then you flip the topmost card, and it affects everybody on the board instead of just hitting the front or the back for magic or physical. And then separately, if there's any enemies in either area, you flip the topmost card, or if there's no card there, that's when you do the little special rage cards for the boss. But yeah, here nothing happens, here nothing happens, here nothing happens. 5 is not higher than 9. Here, we do have a card left, a strength card, so we flip it. And since it's a physical card, it only applies to the Slayer. But then it does go to the fatigue pile, so actually letting yourself get hit can help you get the enemy staggered more quickly. So this one is just a single damage of a Slayer, so he loses 1 hit point. That's what this little blast symbol means. And this is Corruption, which does absolutely nothing as long as you're on your heroic side. But when you've switched to your shattered side, that's like an auto kind of loss condition that is tracking up on your character sheet. So just 1 damage is great. That was not a bad card at all for a 3 threat one. And that's the end of a round. If everything was in fatigue and nothing was in stamina, then all the fatigue would go back and they would unstagger. But we're going back to the refresh phase. So we had 1 card from stamina to any area that doesn't have a card and has characters. That's one reason to sometimes spread out so you get more cards coming out for free. And then we're rolling once for each character. Oh, wow. That's kind of bad and good. So that was 2 6s. I was rolling 1 die with a refresh value for each character in the game. But since there is no 6 area, no cards come out. So there's like not much to attack us this turn, but there's also not much for us to do. I don't love that. So I think to respond to that, I probably want to use the Slayer's power to move a ton of stamina fatigue, which means I kind of think I want him to hit the 5 or the 4 threat cards here. So sure, let's have him go first, have him move to here. So I guess he's not going to benefit from the Siren's ability. And then for his second action, he'll do a basic attack here. He's at 2 threats, so a 2 or a 1 would miss. A 6 is a crit. Let's freaking go. Sorry, that was good. Oh, wait, it's kind of not good. Darn it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm getting 2 cards for free to wounds and not taking 4 threat. But I wanted to use his ability, which is based on him gaining threat, to move 4 cards from the stamina pile into fatigue. Now I haven't gotten to do that. Okay, that's fine. All right, now let's go to the Siren, and she's going to use Flash Beam again. That'll take her down to 1 magic points, targeting an adjacent area, so she'll recover some magic points back, and she'll leave herself to be hit by this thing, since if you're the only person in an area, you do get hit by the card, even though she's in the back row, and this is a front attacking one. So she'll miss on a 1 or a 2, crit on a 6 or lower. Oh, I guess even a 1 or a 2 would still crit, because any attack is a crit, so she cannot miss. Oh, but that was not... Okay, so she didn't get a crit, but she does get 5 magic points back, so that was almost free. But she also gets 5 threat from this thing being destroyed. So for her second action, she's going to take a recovery action, and you roll a die, and you roll it first before you decide what you do. And the value you rolled, you can either gain that much magic point, reduce that much threat, or regardless of the roll, you can get rid of, again, one of those condition cards. But if you roll a crit, like if she had rolled a 3 here, she could fully recover magic, fully reduce threat, or get rid of any number of condition cards. So actually 2 was like one of the worst possible rolls here. 7 threat is a lot. Let's get it down to 5. That way, with Flash Beam's ability, if she uses that next turn, she can't possibly miss, because, again, if it's a 6 or lower, it'll be a crit, and she'll still have enough magic points to fire it off. All right, and now we are doing a Rage card on the Slayer, because nothing is there. And sometimes these affect characters that aren't in that area, like this one. All characters gain 3 threat. Move each character to the back line of their area if able. And these cards do go, they stay in order. So this card goes to the back, and like if we go through the other 4, it would come to the front again. So you can like kind of memorize these. So again, everyone getting 3 threat. Jeez. Oh, I forgot about this. Crud. Everyone should have had 1 more threat here as well. So that's 9 total for Siren. Yikes. And 6 for the Slayer. Okay. By the way, if you go to 12 threat, you have to immediately shatter and go to your dark side. So again, we don't really want that for the campaign. All right, as for the Siren, she's just getting 2 basic damage, and this goes to fatigue. Although 2 damage for her is a sizable portion of her health. Good thing the Slayer's got the healing Zephyr. She traded him. All right, round 3, we're split up. 1, 2 cards. And let's not roll 6s this time. Oh, okay, double 5. Boop, boop. And we've got 4 cards left in stamina. And this one I won't forget, they're each gaining 1 threat, although it can't go up to 12. Yeah, we are in an unhappy threat place. Let's have the Siren recover first. Try to roll better than last time. Ooh, there we go. Crit means 0 out that threat, baby. Okay, and then for her second action, let's go ahead and do another Flash Beam. I like this. Well, you know what? Does she need to? Doing a crit to like a 2 barely matters, right? Yeah, she's not going to miss, so I won't do the Flash Beam this time in case I roll poorly and don't get much magic back. But she's still attacking adjacent to get her little magic recovery ability on this guy. So... okay, she got a 2, which does hit because she has no threat. And also means that she gets 2 magic back. But she does get 2 threat from defeating that guy. Meanwhile, our war boy here should probably also recover and then attack. All right, so the recovery gets him 4. And yeah, I think it's going to all be threat. And then actually, you know what? Whether he attacks or not, that card that's about to hit him will go to the fatigue pile, but probably the 3 magic card is going to not be as bad as the rage card. So let's have him just tank the hit. And they're both in the back line right now. It's annoying because he can't move in front of the Siren where he is, but he can use an action for healing Zephyr. So he'll roll a die. All characters in his line gain that much hit points. I mean, they're both barely hurt, but it's, kind of a good time to use it maybe. Yeah, they don't have more than 2 damage. Okay, they both fully heal. What a crappy roll. And then I have to trash this forever. I'm going to get a replacement. This one is fine, but I don't want to have only 2 abilities for the rest of the battle. So that's removed from the pool forever, and instead he gets Reclaim Barrage. Okay, so there's an attack for 2 magic. That's pretty inexpensive. Before rolling dice miss attack, if you were in the front line, place the top card in stamina in fatigue, and then you may... okay. So... that's not that great. And especially with his ability, it's kind of a bad combo because he can already spend magic points to do way more than 1 card from stamina to fatigue. Oh, well. All right, and we're getting some attacks. Oh, 2 corruption. That does absolutely nothing to a heroic character. And 1 damage and 2 corruption. We're getting super lucky here with the cards. And that was only 4. So this guy should be staggered in a second. If not, the Slayer will make sure he is. So we're getting an automatic. Whoa, those are high threat cards. We've got 2 left, so we kind of don't want to roll a 6. Beautiful. Oh, and they're doubled up. Let's go. So because he has no cards in stamina, he is staggered, and we're going to get our actions. So any damage we do right now of these cards goes straight to wounds. We want to hit as hard as we can. But first, they are each getting another threat. Yay. Well, let's see. Should I use Smiting Impale? For a single action, I'll roll 2 dice instead of 1, so I'm not going to miss, most likely, with 4 threat. And then, since he's staggered, if the attack hits, before damage is dealt, I'll reduce my threat to 4, and then I'll take 4 more, but it'll definitely make me... yes, I guess I'm trading 3 magic points for 4 threat reduction, because the deal 2 damage is not going to matter. He'd already do 4 damage, which is way more than enough when there's 2 cards in front of him. So sure, let's try Smiting Impale. So he's rolling 2 dice, although a 6 is still a crit for him. That's not it. That's an 8, but that does hit. It's definitely over the 4 threat. But that zeroes out his threat, and then he's killing 4 threat worth of people, so he gets it right back. The crit would have been better. Okay, these both go to wounds. Yay. And for his second action, I guess he'll recover because he's low on magic. He has some threat. He wouldn't be able to move in front of the Siren anyway. That would not be a crit for him. That is a crit for her. She still has that ability that can give him magic points, so I think I'll zero out his threat instead. All right, now it's her turn. I think I want to do a regular attack against this guy and then flash beam them because it has a higher chance of a crit, so I might not get the 4 threat. So let's try that out. So regular attack first. She does have 3 threat here, but a 3 is a crit for her, so it always hits. So only a 1 or 2 will miss. This is her basic attack, and she missed. But she does get to gain 2 magic points back. And I'm still going to do the flash beam against the thing in front of me because it's got the much higher threat value. So that's 6. I'm rolling 2. Oh, that's right. I'm not getting magic points back if I use it against the one in front of me. So maybe... I don't know. Maybe I will still attack the thing below me. And, ooh, nice. Well, I only got 1 magic point back. That part's not nice. But I did get a crit. Oh, but since I'm attacking this one, it's only one threat that I avoided and would have gone to wounds anyway because the guy is staggered. So yeah, that was not great, I think. Man, the normal difficulty version of this guy with the more cards is a lot harder because normally we would only have 2 cards per character instead of 6. So he would have already been like way wounded a lot. What are we doing? He is doing a rage card against my friend there. Minotaur Shield. Oh, he gets 1 damage, so he's down to 8 again. He gets a condition, and he gains a threat. And which condition is he dealing with? Stun. You cannot gain magic points when you recover. Remember, any recover action, regardless of a die roll, can get rid of this, but that's pretty annoying. Okay, and then the Siren's getting, 3 threat. Okay, that goes to fatigue as well. Oh, which doesn't help us at all, because now it's just all going to go back to stamina. And yeah, the brokenness is done. He is back to his unstaggered side. And we didn't get... Yeah, we got 6 cards in wounds. That's some, but not really enough. All right, refresh phase. This guy gets 1. She does not, because she's already got a card there. And we're rolling. Just a 3. Yeah, really, like, he's being a little bit cheap with his cards here. Now, you know what? If there aren't that many cards out, I'm not really too worried about things. So I'm going to have him... I'm going to get them back together. He's going to move here. Oh, and he gained 1 threat from the thing. So did she. And then he can't recover magic points. So let's just do a recover to maybe get rid of the stun or get rid of his threat. I think it's probably the most valuable thing we can do. A 5. We'll get rid of all his threat, and she's planning to give him some magic. Well, whatever. I still don't want to have a condition card. Okay, and then she's gonna... I think she's got tons of threat. But yeah, she's gonna move up here to benefit from his blocking. And now she can Inspiring Verse him. And then for her second one, she'll definitely recover because she has a ton of threat. 6. I mean, hey, it's not a crit for her, but it's really good. It's still 6 points gone. And, you know, all he does is hit him for a single damage. Again, getting lucky with the corruption. So we're back to another refresh phase. We get a free card there. And, oh, nice. I kind of want a lot of stuff in an area because, yeah, he just hits really hard and he can get rid of tons of cards at once. And they each gain a threat from that thing. And now I want the Slayer to go first because right now he could benefit from her Strategic Mastery. If he rolls a 3 or a 6, he'll crit. Do I want to recover his threat first? Because he'll crit on a 3, he'll miss on a 4 or a 1. That's a 50% chance of missing. Yeah, let's recover first. And he's got 3. So sure, let's lower this to 1. Then he's going to do an attack. And he wants a 3 or a 6. I mean, a 6 is better because then we don't have to spend any magic, or just a 4. Well, that would have missed if we hadn't recovered, so that's good at least. So, boom, he gets 4 threat. Oh, and he has no magic. I was going to say that he could have used his ability to move 4 cards from stamina to fatigue, but no such luck. All right, next is the Siren. And you know what? I think I'm going to use Inspiring Verse, have her zero out her magic. I'm not going to cycle it and give that all to the Slayer, because she can do her Black Powder Ballad and get a bunch back right now anyway, which she'll do with an attack on this guy. So I want to roll not a 1 or a 2. That would miss. A 3 would be a crit. A 6 would get her a ton of magic back. Either of those would be awesome. Hey! So she does take the 4th threat from the guy, but she gets 6 magic back. So nothing wrong with that. And then this card hits her for 2 corruption. I love it. These are great cards. Now, if we ever switch to our Shattered side, which I'm not planning to do in the campaign here, that'd be bad. That's also bad. Wow. It's a big card. And more cards in the ready phase, 3 and 4. We did get a doubled up one again. There's only 2 in stamina. So good time again for the Slayer to maybe do his thing. Although, honestly, the guy will probably stagger himself in a second anyway. A 3 in front, just hitting him isn't that bad. And it is important in this game to remember to do like recovery turns. Yeah, let's have the Siren do 1 recovery action. 1. Great. Well, she has enough to do Flash Beam, so I guess she'll do that. And then she's going to do another recovery action and not roll a 1. A 5, that's much better. Let's get it down to 1 this time. And then, yeah, the Slayer is going to do... Oh, a 6. That's a crit. But he can either get rid of all of that or get 2 magic, so I guess he'll do that. And then he's going to, what? I guess recover again to get his magic points back. Great, he's fully magicked up. All right, now we're in a nice spot to kick some butt. Slayer does get hit with this. Single damage. And now here we go. We don't get any automatic ones, so once again, we got to hope we don't roll those 6s. 1 and 2. It's not as doubled up as I would have liked, but I guess she can get to some of it. So the guy is staggered again. He has no cards and stamina. So let's maybe have the Slayer go first. Because with her reaction thing, I mean, he could go up there and hit 2 cards is the thing. But if he's here, he has double the chance of getting a crit and that not affecting him threat-wise. Whatever. More cards wounded is better. So he's going to go up here and attack. He's only got the one threat he gains. I'm not going to use like Smiting Impale or anything. Let's just do a regular hit. That would have been a crit if he had stayed. It's fine. So he does gain, 5 more threat. He's at 6. But he wounds both of those cards. He's about to get a face full of rage, though. Okay, now the Siren, for her first action, will do an attack here. Just a regular one. She's got 2 threat. Okay. So her threat goes there, but her magic is actually filled with her ability. Nice. And now with that being the case, I'm going to try the Flash Beam on the 5 threat one in front of me and hope I roll low for the automatic crit. Come on. All right, so under 7. Let's go! So she doesn't get any magic because she wasn't shooting somebody in a different row. And we have set us both up to get raged on by the guy. But that is a 5 threat she's not gaining. And the fatigue pile is pretty dang small now. All right, let's see what's happening. Boy over here, 2 damage and a threat. Ouch. And then for her, 4 damage. Yay. Remember how I didn't want to shatter? Although, note the Guardian's ability. When a character has their hit points reduced to 0 during the defend phase, the character gains 1 hit point. So you basically can't be defeated on his first form because he's supposed to be the tutorial boss, even in the journey mode. Yeah, this is for your protection. Thanks for the Zelda reference. But he's not staggered anymore, and there's cards coming back. So we got to get 6 cards to be out or in wounds, because they have to not be in stamina or fatigue, and then we got to wound the guy, and we can actually switch to the real, final phase. So stamina, and roll in. 2 and 4. There's only 2 cards left in stamina. I feel like the Slayer should try to use his ability, maybe. Although, no, you know what? This is probably a better biding our time turn, because if we get lucky and don't roll 6s next turn, he'll be staggered anyway. So let's have the Siren moved where she cannot get killed, because he'll block for her. And then she can recover. Ooh, a 6. Let's get her full magic back. Maybe, although she gets magic back really easily. Yeah, she's not going to be able to hit next turn otherwise. Okay. Then the Slayer has freaking 8 threat right now. So 4 and 6. Oh, there's a crit. So he's fully unthreaded. Okay, and this is smacking us for a single damage. He's down to 3. God, they're both hurt a ton. I wish I'd kind of kept that healing ability now. Okay, and then this is coming. Oh, we only need to not roll a 6 for 1 card. 1 and 2. This is good, actually. There we go. So we pull from the fatigue pile if the stamina pile doesn't have enough cards to fulfill the kind of spawning in the ready phase. Which means, boom, this guy is staggered with nothing in fatigue and stamina. So the second we do any wounds to him, hit him at all, he's going to fully heal, but he'll finally go to his nasty version. Which means we probably want Siren to go first. I don't even know if we want to hit the guy that much. Yeah, so let's have her go ahead and do her attack here. Not Flash Beam. She's just trying to get some magic back. That was a miss, wasn't it? The only... okay, that's fine. I was going to have her recover, but hey, she'll just do it again. Shoot! And that's not a crit, but she does get 5 magic points back. And she gets 3 threat from the card she hit. And... there we go. So the 3 she hit and sent to wounds. All these cards go back to stamina. He flips to his Guardian side. Ooh, now his value that you don't want to exceed is 5. So we have to hit something here or it'll happen. We're still only rolling 1 die. You've left me no choice. After any physical card is revealed during the defend phase, each character in the area gains 1 threat. Dang it, I forgot about that. Now, these zeros down here would, for some bosses, change the composition of the stamina deck. So you would sometimes take cards out or add cards in. For him, it just stays the same. When he's not staggered anymore, he's guarded again because he's got stuff in stamina. And he also gets, I'm sure, all new fun and lovely rage cards for us to deal with. All right, so that was both of her actions because she missed the first time. So, if Slayer doesn't kill these cards, we're going to get 1 card because of the overage in the area resolving against everybody, and then that card still hitting him. I don't want that, so let's just go ahead and hit, and then we'll get a single rage card that will probably affect both of them. That's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, and he is still in her area, so if he gets a 3 or a 6... Crit. Let's go. Come on. Yes. So she's going to use Strategic Mastery for 3 magic points. If one of the dice rolled is equal... Oh, if only one of the... Holy crud, this is better than I thought. If one of the dice rolled is equal to your crit value, the attack is a crit. So that means like something like Smiting Impale, where he's rolling 2 dice. He would have a double. Oh man, okay, that's the best ability ever. All right, so he does 2 damage. He sends 2 of these. Oh, and there were crits, so straight to straight to wounds. That was awesome. And yeah, now he's not going to suffer from this negative effect. We're just going to have fun rage card time. Now we do have another action for him. I don't want to move because I want the single rage card to happen. Tactical Instincts wouldn't work. He can't attack at range like she can. Yeah, kind of being up there is not helping us a ton. Well, whatever. He's just going to, we'll say he recovered his 1 threat. Boom, it's automatic. All right, and let's see what fun new rage this guy has to offer. Bro, each character in the front line takes 3 damage. That's enough to kill the Slayer, so he's going to have to shatter. And yeah, this guy's not healing him automatically anymore. Darn it. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have played on normal difficulty. I thought it was going to be so nice to heal automatically at the end of the battle. But the easiest boss is going to make it look like both of my characters, 2 out of my 8 roster, the entire journey shatter in the fight. Yeah, because remember, this guy would have had so many fewer cards. He would have been defeated way earlier. He might already be dead if I was not playing on the harder difficulty. All right, well, fine, whatever. He gets 1 there for free because nothing's there. And we're getting a 3. That would be over. And a 5. So we might want to get down there if we can. And so yeah, this part kind of sucks. The Slayer has to use one of his 2 actions to shatter or he just dies. And that would be 1/8 of my team gone. So I guess I'll just do an attack because you do like lose all your threats and your magic doesn't matter and stuff. I'll attack. Do I want to use... Smiting Impale is a 2 dice attack. I could do Reclaim Barrage before rolling Decimus attack if you're in the front line. I would just get a free stamina to fatigue thing. So sure, let's do that, but we'll flip it over because I don't want to like get a whole new card, right? Well, no, I do want to get a whole new card because this card sucks for him and it's attached to him in the journey mode. So he'll spend 2 magic. This is his first action. He'll flip this over. We get 1 free move from stamina to fatigue. And then he's attacking, and hey, a 3 would still be a great little thing here. Or 6, that's a crit too. Going out like a champ before you shatter, buddy. Nice job. Boom. So for a second, I actually asked to shatter, which I just realized means that all these cards get taken out of the campaign anyway. And he's on his shatter side. Imperfect Vessel. He's got 10 hit points. Nice. 12. Oh, I got to flip this over. But yeah, 10 hit points. 12 is the max for his corruption. If he goes there, then he's kind of become too corrupted and is gone. His threat goes down to 0. And now he rolls 2 dice to attack. 7 is his crit value. And at the start of his activation, he gains 1 corruption automatically. And he also has to cycle 1 of the corrupted skill cards. But those never get expended, never get like taken out of the pool in the journey mode. Those will always stick around. Oh, and he gets 1 right now. And it is Ultimate Control. Wait, so he has no control and Ultimate Control. Activate any active ability another character has equipped. Active ability. Oh, so that would mean like Flash Beam or Strategic Mastery. Oh, God. Gain corruption equal to its cost. If it has no cost, gain 1 corruption. I don't think he's going to use that unless he just wants to murder himself. Okay, now we're doing maybe kind of an odd choice here, but she's going to go here. I think, to shoot this thing before it affects them both, because it would probably kill her. Blue ones tend to do, I don't think they do damage, or if they do damage, they do it less often than the physical ones, so she might survive being hit by that. And then she's going to use Flash Beam on this, because otherwise her chances of hitting are almost nil. And now if she rolls below a 7, it's a critical hit, which with her threat of 5 is pretty great. Come on, crit it. Come on, crit it. Yeah, oh, well, she only gets 1 magic point back because it's the lower die. But she does send this big 5 that was making this area go over the limit to wounds. Nice job. And then I don't know if anybody's going to survive here. Let's see what happens. Sealed Fate. His magic points get reduced to 0. That doesn't matter. And he gets 2 corruption. Oh, he's just going to be corrupted like whoa. And then she gets 4 threat. She's not dead yet. Yay. All right, and we're getting a free card here. Rolling for 2. Whoops, 2 more. 3. Oh, not 2 more. There we go. And we're just gaining a threat from the location, and, oh man, yeah, this is a harder battle than I expected. Let's have the Slayer go first, see what he's got. So first of all, this ability didn't last very long, and he gains 1 corruption at the start of his activation. Let's get a new one. What do we got? Echoes of Friendship. When another character is removed from the board, well, that's not going to happen. Okay, so cool. That's another ability he won't use at all, but he'll get a new one next turn. We're still 5 cards away from advancing. And nothing's over 5 this turn, so we don't really need to necessarily attack. So maybe I could have her and him get together and chill for a turn, although there are a lot of locations building up with cards. But yeah, okay, so let's have him go here for one action. Well, actually, his values are pretty low, and that's a big card. So let's have him attack first and then move here. So now he's rolling 2 dice, and the 7 is his crit. That's not it, but he does hit. Gets him 4 more threat, but takes out this big boy card. Then the Sirens add a crazy amount of threats. She's going to go here and then recover. And her magic is low. She's just in a bad way. She got a 4, not a crit. Yeah, let's ditch some threats so she at least has a chance of hitting somebody. Okay, now, because we are revealing a physical card, they're each going to gain another threat in the area from his ability. Not ideal. Ooh, and 2 damage to the Slayer. He's at 8. There we go to another turn. And yeah, we're not getting a free card. We're not getting much at all. This is a ton of cards in this guy's deck on the harder difficulty. Okay, once again, nothing's going to be over, but we just need to hit some things, I guess. Let's have the Siren go first, because if she gets some more magic points, she can let him do a better crit with her 1 ability. So I think I'll have her recover first. Get 6. Let's get rid of the threat now. And then she'll do a regular attack down here with that card. See how that goes. 2 does hit because she lowered her threat enough, so her threat goes up by 1. She fatigues that. And importantly for what I was planning, she now can get 4 magic points from her Black Powder Ballad, which will let her use Strategic Mastery on the Slayer, potentially. Speaking of the Slayer, it's Corruption and new card time. What have we got? Redemption. When you succumb, that would mean gain max stuff. That's, again, not going to happen this turn, so we don't have to worry about that. So I guess he'll recover and then attack. Okay, the recovery is a 5. He's at 1 threat now. And then he's doing a double attack. Remember, if he gets a 7, it's a crit, but if either die is a 3, she can use her ability to make it also a crit, or none of those things can happen. So he just hits and fatigues it, gets 3 threat. And yes, set ourselves up for a rage card. Oof. Okay, so they both, I think, take 5 threat. But at least we get more cards. So there's 1 there. Okay, if we don't get a 6, then we're going to... There we go. Okay, so he is staggered again. And we can get a big hit maybe with the Slayer here. Well, can we, though? Because he's very threatened now. Well, either way, let's have the Siren go first. And yeah, she's kind of got to recover for her first action. Oh, that's good, though. Boom, 0 it out. And then she'll do an attack on, I guess, the 2 guy below her, the 2 threat card. And got him. So blip. Oh, and that was a 6, wasn't it? So boom, she has a lot of magic back. Again, the Slayer is getting a Corruption and a new card. Shattered Maelstrom. When you perform a basic attack, if your roll equals your current Corruption, the attack is a crit. Okay, finally a card that's useful. So if he doesn't recover, since he doesn't really have time to, and moves and attacks, he would crit on a 5 or a 7. Still not amazing odds, but it's better odds. Screw it. I'm going to try it. Okay, so move first. Why not? And then attack. Here we go. 5 or 7. 5 or 7. Just. By the way, I just realized if I'd rolled 11 or 12 and just hit normally without a crit, he would have gotten 6 threat and been defeated immediately. So that's fun. But boom, 2 things. I guess the crit doesn't matter as much except for the threat because they're going to wounds either way. But that's good. We only have like 10 cards left for fatigue and stamina and stuff that aren't in wounds now. But we might be all about to die. So she gets hit by the Master's Wishes. Gain threat until it reaches 11. Oh, and she was at 2. That's not a great card. And then he's getting hit by this. Oh, which is also giving him a threat that gets him to 11 threat. And he takes the damage. But hey, small favors. As we go to the next turn, we get some free cards. And, oh, just the 1. Okay. And hey, we would each gain a threat, but it can't take us over 11. We're both at 11, so it doesn't hurt us at all. Yay. All right, so yeah, I think it's definitely a resting turn. Let's have him go first, and he's definitely going to move up and then recover to block for her. So he does. He keeps on ticking towards death. It is not long for this world. Oh, new teaching. When a character rolls dice on an attack, use your current threat for the value of the roll instead. This can result in a crit. Well, that's actually pretty good, but now he's just going to recover, and he can't crit on a recover once he's in his corrupted form. Oh, 6 is nice. That would have been a crit. That'll get him down to 5. Very good. Then, yeah, the Siren will certainly do recover for her first action. 1. Great. And then she'll do it for her second action. 5, so she goes down to 5. All right. Although they're both gaining 1 more from the ability, and then the Slayer's taking the damage. Okay, and that's for free. We're so close to him staggering again. Oh, whoa. It's a nasty little area there. In fact, yeah, you know what? This area is so nasty. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to move her down here and recover. Let's try to get rid of some more threat. 4. It's much better. And then his slow march to death. It's a 7. Oh, Shadow Flight. When your activation begins, you may move to any unoccupied space. Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you. I guess these are both at the start of my activation, otherwise this would be useless. So sure, let's go ahead and do it. So now you can actually do 2 attacks with her boosting him maybe, or attack and then recover. Let's do an attack first, because I'm trying to get her to fire off that special ability where if I roll a 3, or if I get a 7, of course. There we go. So the 3, I'm going to use Strategic Mastery. Now she can only use it once per turn, so it costs her 3 magic, but that is now a crit. Sending 2 of these straight to wounds. Heck yes. Okay, now he doesn't mind tanking that one. So let's recover some more threat. 1, great. Then they're both gaining that 1 threat right back as he takes 2 damage. Yeah, he's at 6, she's at 3, and I'll just move him for the location. 7 and 4 in a second. And let's see, so that comes out, so he is staggered. And we're going to have 2 more, 3 and 5. Oh, no, I guess this is endgame, right? We just got to kill all of these men. He does do a final rage attack, the turn that you get rid of all his stuff. So, yeah, let's do this. So maybe I have the Slayer go first and attack. Like he can move somewhere. Or I guess she could attack a lot. Because yeah, him getting a crit here barely matters. It's only a 1 card anyway, and they're all going to wounds anyway. So let's have him go first. I wish you could keep his dang Shadow Flight. That one's great, but no such luck. So he's got new teachings. When a character rolls dice on an attack, use your... Oh, didn't we already do this one? I think I forgot to put it on the bottom. Oh, here you go. When you crit, place 1 card from stamina to wounds. So that's totally useless for the current situation. And so he's got 7 threat, but 7's a crit for him. So he does have a better than 50% chance of at least hitting. So sure, maybe he goes up here for his first action and then attacks. See if we can get lucky here. Ooh, nope, but he does hit because it's over 7. And he takes 2 threat. And we're down to just a few cards left. Now for the Siren, I'm going to attack twice and then let this hit her. First attack, I'll do a regular attack on the one below her. So a 3 would be a crit, or a 5 or 6. Oh, so she's only got a 50-50 chance. I want to use Flash Beam in a second. Now let's try it. Hey, okay, we hit. And it's a 1, so she's up to 5. This one here. And then for her second attack, she'll use Flash Beam on this big 3 here. Oh, and sorry, she got 6 magic, right? So she got all her magic back. And now Flash Beam brings it down to 5. And an 8. It's not a crit, but so she does get 3 threat. But she also gets 3 magic back from the lower die. I got 4 cards left to kill. But our friend over there is... Oh, okay. The character with the lowest threat, which is the Siren, rolls 1 die and gains threat equal to that roll. Well, she might be corrupted in a second from that. Let's see what it is. 5. Yep. That's going to shatter her immediately. So let's see what she's got. She's got 5. Let's flip it over. 5 hit points. She's got a 10 max for her corruption. She goes down to 0 threat. She's getting 3 of these cool abilities. These ones are gone. Umbra Inferno, Infectious Thorns, Twisted Ritual. And once per activation, when she uses one of these abilities, she either gains 1 corruption and gains 1 hit point, or deals 1 to any area. I'm not sure. Is the or for the entire thing? So she can gain 1 corruption and gain 1 hit point, or just deal 1 damage to any area? I'm not quite sure, but that's okay. Either way, she's getting smacked by this thing first for 1 threat. That's fine. Does go to fatigue, but then it immediately spawns on him. Oh, sorry, they do have different standees for the corrupted versions, but I'm not going to search for those right now. And they each gain the threat. What do we want to do here? She can't do a range attack anymore. And she still only does 1 damage with each hit. Maybe he attacks and then moves. She moves and then attacks. Although that's right, he's super filled with threat at the moment. So he can move down and recover. See what we get. 4. There we go. Oh, and sorry, he's up to this. And what's he got now? I should look at this before I decide. Deal 1 condition to yourself and search the Rage deck, placing 1 card on top. Oh, it's a free action. Actually, this is a good thing. I am going to do this. Because the final Rage card goes off as the last gasp when the enemy's about to be defeated. Oh, and you perform a recover action. If the roll matches your current corruption. No, I rolled a 5. Oh, I would have redeemed myself? Nope, that's not happening. Wait, what did he get? When you roll an attack, on a 5 or 6, you have to re-roll the die. Interesting. Oh, any die. Okay, so each individual die will do that. Then he gets to put 1 rage card on top. That one's fine. Reduce magic point to 2 and gain 2 corruption. Although threat 11 is actually worse because in the campaign mode, that like sticks with you. We definitely don't... Oh, actually, each character in the front line takes 3 damage. So if we just make sure they move to the back line at the end, that should be fine. Cool, we'll keep that one there. Okay, then our Siren's going to move here and then attack. For her abilities, now she can let characters switch out their cards. Nah. Place a number of cards in your area equal to your current corruption into wounds. That won't help at all. So she'll just do a regular attack. So 2 dice, aiming for a 7. Nope, but she does hit. So we'll get rid of this bad boy and give her 2 threat. And then she and the Slayer taking 1 more each as this thing hits him. Oh, so it's the Slayer for 2 damage. And then it's going to spawn in front of them immediately again. Oh, crud. They do not gain threat. Oh, man, I've been doing this wrong. They should have been gaining corruption or hit points. I forgot it changed. All right, well, we'll just start doing it now. So I guess I'll have the Slayer take a hit point damage because his corruption's already going up 1 per turn. And I'll have her take the corruption. And yeah, right now there's no way for us to finish off all 3. We got to survive a whole extra turn. All right, and we've got a new ability that he's not going to use. He's up to 10 corruption. This is so ridiculous. And he's blinded. I think he just might move and recover. Move up to a less nasty card here. Oh, that's right. We want to be in the back row by the end. And his recovery will get him down to 4 threat. Meanwhile, the Siren's going to try to attack and then move. Although she does need to get... Okay, that's actually a crit. So she doesn't gain the 1 threat. And then she goes up here. And this hits him. Oh, God. I think he's dead. Yeah, he's going to be dead. What the heck? And he's got a threat, and then it comes right back. And then, yeah, at the start of his activation, he is done. God, why did I pick the harder version of this boss? We just lost character. All right, so I guess she'll recover and then attack. We know that deal damage to the front card is on top, so it's not going to do anything special to her. And I just don't trust her to hit right now, so the recovery gets her down to 2. Oh, that's right. I have to do the corruption or life. I guess she'll take a damage. Okay, then second action. Okay, that's a hit. So that guy's gone. And she takes this, which we know about, which does nothing to her. Nice. Okay, then should be the final turn. She'll take a damage instead of a corruption. And then she'll move and attack. So, boop. And she just needs to get over 3. There we go. And all right, we do our final gasp, which is reducing magic point to 0. That doesn't matter. And getting 2 corruption could be worse. And hey, we defeated the easiest boss in the game. But yeah, I was going to show you a second journey mode, but that one took a lot longer. Yeah, really, I'm sorry. I should not have done the harder mode. I didn't realize I hadn't actually tried. I'd only tried it on normal so far. I didn't realize how much harder it would get. And also, I just might not have had the best characters and ability combos using like the suggested ones instead of making my own combos. But hey, let's get to some more positive parts of the journey step. We get to draw 2 cards from the unique ones for this boss. We took out his shield. To get that, you have to face him in hard mode or expert mode, whatever it's called. Good luck. But we got, these can be used by characters in future battles. Fallen Greatsword. You can use it as a free action to attack with 2 dice. Your crit value is 7 for that attack. And after that attack is resolved, if the attack was not a crit, you flip this card face down. But yeah, if you can get ways to like make your crits easier, like, oh, her ability, well, not the one she has now, but before where she could like crit on a 3, getting free attacks for multiple turns is pretty amazing. And when they're flipped face down, you can flip them back face up. And each character can only equip 1 of these when they go into battle. And then Compunction Armor. As a reaction, when an adjacent character's hit points is reduced to 0, set your hit points to 1. All adjacent characters gain 1 hit point, and then flip this card face down. That one's not as impressive. But yeah, these are just cool like little bonus things you can equip, and you get more and more. And you can also trash them between rounds in the journey mode to like bring shattered people back to normal mode or get a lot of healing and stuff. And by the way, at the end of every journey step, you also get a free recovery action because all of her stats stay exactly where they are. So boom, she could recover down to 0 threat right here, and we would keep track of what she has, and that would be her lot in life. Yay for the Siren, and sorry for the Slayer. And then, yeah, since we won, we would go on to the Harvester, but we're not going to because this ended up going way longer than I thought it would. But still, it's a little taste of Encounters Shattered Wastes with a harder level 1 boss than I thought it was going to be. And just a little taste of how Journey Mode works with getting these item cards from the enemies and going on to the next one. And yeah, I could use the Siren in the next fight, or I could not since she's not dead, but the Slayer would be gone, and I could pick from any of the other 6 characters and bring them in. And again, you're trying to kind of keep your roster alive, leveling up with these items, and just seeing how far you can get in this gauntlet of danger. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that little playthrough. And I should have a review of the game in a few weeks, talking about both Journey Mode and the regular solo co-op mode. And at the end of many of our videos, I'd like to thank our biggest Patreon supporters, the ones who do the most to keep the channel going. They are J. Willie MF, Steve Wren, and Pedro Lucas. Thank you all so much. And everybody else, good gaming, and we'll see you at the next stop.